Hello and welcome to We Three Queers.
The podcast where us three queers talk about things.
Because it's our podcast and we're queer, so piss off.
Perfect.
We three queers of London are fabulous and feeling ourselves so far. Talking about all things queer and fitting with a theme. And that's enough of that, I'll stop singing now.
Everything is orange, Cara. Everything is orange.
Yes, and yeah, even the mug, yeah. I've got me coffee. And for those who can't see me, I have mouldy eyes today because I have tried to be old-fashioned and kind of like paint my face a bit green, but just looks like I've like dunked it in a pond.
I did try and do green eyes, but yeah, green when you got tiny little eyes, or well, you haven't got tiny eyes, but yeah, green is not the best colour.
The shade.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just figuring it out. We're all on a journey at the end of the day. And this is a step in my journey that I regret. No, it's not too bad. I feel fashion.
It does look lovely on you, actually. I take back. Green on you looks lovely. Everyone else looks horrid. Don't do it.
Good. Thank you. I have a warm-up question.
Let's go. Let's jump straight into it. Why not?
Ready to warm yourselves up?
Oh, yes, please. It's chilly tonight.
My question is, if you were an animal in a past life, what animal do you think you would have been?
Ooh.
I'll give you a moment to think while I tell you mine.
Yeah.
I think I was probably some kind of like water vole or something, because kind of cute, but also kind of vermin, and like also just like swims, like, and by swimming, that's like a metaphor for sort of going with the flow, but also can be taken by the current sometimes. So that's why I think I'm a bit of a water vole in a past life.
All those metaphors in there in life. Well, Cara, that's so deep for a Wednesday afternoon.
I told you it was going to be a deep one today.
Oh,
what were you, Flick?
I mean, I'd probably be a hippo, let's be honest, because I'm very territorial, and they laze around all day pretty much by the water banks and then go into the water, come back out and wallow in the mud. And they don't particularly like the heat, but they live in the heat, and I don't particularly like the heat, but well, I don't live in the heat in England, but wish I did. Yeah, and also they're very loyal animals, and they got a thick skin, which I don't. But yeah, I'd be a hippo. I don't know. Also because
and a really big mouth.
They got
mouth.
At drama school, we did animal studies, and for like a whole term, I was a hippo, and this is me being a hippo, opening my mouth. For those actually listening on a podcast, this is not very interesting. Go to YouTube, and you can see me be a hippo. This is what I spent $9,000 a year to learn. Are you ready?
Yes.
Did you see?
Yes.
Yeah, that was good. Thank you so much, trained actor. Yeah.
6 out of 10.
Thank
Absolute
you.
icon.
So that's what I did. And that's me, basically. A hippo.
Gone for a hippo.
I don't know about, I don't think I know enough about animals to know what I would be.
What did you do for animal studies?
I think I did a spider monkey, and I was just like, I was literally asleep in the tree as me. I wasn't like I was just asleep. But like, you get to like watch all the, get to watch all the gossip that's going on downstairs, have a little peek, but then you can just pretend to fall asleep if you want someone to leave you alone.
Leave you alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And playful.
That's great.
That's very
Thank you.
you, Cyro. Just watching what's going on and being like, taking notes. Like, yes, I've got the receipts.
Oh, the receipts. Keep the receipts. I wonder if monkeys keep the receipts.
the screenshots.
Yeah.
I've got screenshots.
Bloody Karen and Linda having a fight in the tree. That was a good question this week, Karen. It was a lot better than last week's one.
Excuse me, cake. I love cake.
Well, yes, but everyone at home, please let us know what animal you would have been in a past life, because I'm really that interested.
Yes.
Arsehole.
That was probably...
I actually well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not interested, but it's like when people tell you their dreams, they're like, oh my God, I had this weird dream yesterday, and then they tell you their dream and you're like,
you have to be like,
do not care about what you had yesterday. Like, please, I don't care, shut up. So please don't tell me your dreams, but please do tell us what animal you would be.
Although you can tell us your dreams if you like. Maybe we can try and interpret people's dreams for them.
I love that shit. I love that.
That could be Cyro's bit.
Yeah. Oh my God,
just
please let me interpret it.
Cyro the dream interpreter.
What was I going to say? I've forgotten. Anyway, there we go. That's that. The theme for today. Are we agreed on the theme for today?
We are agreed on the theme. What is the theme, Cyro?
Today's theme is hope.
Dun, 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 dun. Is there any hope? Is there any hope? Well,
I don't know.
Hope. There is hope. Hope, she lives down the road at number 17. Yeah. She's a bit of a cow.
Yes, we're talking about hope. The reason I suggested hope is because obviously we've got the rise of a potential vaccine or two coming out at the moment. We've got Dolly. Even more good news
Dolly
today that thanks Dolly, of course. Thank you, Dolly. Dolly is hope. If we've got anything to be hopeful for, it's Dolly.
And she's got a Christmas album as well, which is just the best.
Yeah. And she didn't say no to a UK tour last night on the One Show.
The One Show. Brilliant. Okay.
I don't watch, so I do.
Don't lie.
And also we've had recently, Trump is hopefully going to get kicked out of the White House. Biden and Harris have obviously won the election. Ooh. So that's a bit hopeful that a majority of the American people, even if it's a small majority, have chosen not to support a white supremacist. So that's good. Mm-hmm. But we're not in America. We're still stuck with our Tory government. But it gives us hope for what could happen in the future. So that's why I suggested hope as a theme. But we can relate it to drag somehow.
Well, we can relate it to anything because we're queer and we can do what we want because we're a marginalised community. No.
I think that being queer, like part of it is being so hopeful.
Do you know what I mean? I think especially like with the vaccine, it means that our queer spaces are going to be opening up again, and that's the biggest thing because we're having to be stuck with like ourselves or like in lockdown on our own with people potentially that we don't like, or people that we do like, which is lovely. But at the end of the day, regardless of whether you like the people that you're with or not, after a while you do miss that community, that other family, that chosen family that you have. And even when we could go back slightly to it a little bit with restrictions and it was a bit weird, it was still lovely to see people physically and like actually communicate with them and be in a public space. And that's the biggest thing that I'm hopeful for, is especially with this like vaccine, is to be able to go into a queer space and cuddle my like friends and see them, like, because us three, like one of the last gigs we did was together. We couldn't even hug each other, like, or anything, and it was just weird. Like, so yeah, having those spaces back open is just going to be amazing.
I totally agree. But today, my boyfriend's been telling me that he thinks the lockdown is going to go on for longer, and I do hear people say this a lot. A lot of people are saying it, but I'm like, show me the screenshots, bitch. Where is the evidence that this is going to happen? Because nobody knows. So I guess
Not even the government knows. So like,
no, not even the government knows. They don't know. So I found the best thing to do is plan for the best, and expect the best. And then if you get the worst, whatever, deal with it.
I'm like the opposite of that, because there's no way I'm going to be planning and hoping for the best, and then it will just come crumbling down when he extends.
I know, but I found that's the way that I've managed to actually get through this, is by being hopeful and then like trying not to let myself actually get disappointed, like just accepting it and moving on. I know it's kind of really the backwards way of doing it, I guess. When you think, like, you're right, like normally you would expect the worst, but I'm actually finding like if I just really hope enough, it might happen. And if it doesn't happen, it's fine.
And it puts you in a good mood up until that point happens. So if it is a bad, if you don't get to do it, then deal with it on that day. I kind of understand you on that point.
Yeah, and I think it's about, because like even if like the night I've planned doesn't happen, it's okay, because I've planned another one for in like 5 weeks or next month. So that for me, it's like always giving myself something to look forward to. I think even if it doesn't happen, I've had like 5 or 6 shows now at this point that I've been producing cancelled, but it's like just always put another one in as soon as that one's cancelled. And so it's like, okay, it's fine, that's cancelled, but I've got the next one, so I've got more to look forward to.
When lockdown actually ends, you'll have like 17 shows and you'll be like, fuck, I can't do this.
I know, and this is the thing, at the moment I'm calling myself like a sellout producer, because I've actually only managed to put on 2 shows. And they both happen to do well. So yeah, it's one of those things. You have to be hopeful, I guess, for what the next
I think
month
that is
brings.
Yeah, I suppose in certain ways that is sensible, because you can hope for the best, plan for the best, and then if for whatever reason that doesn't happen, and you just push it back a little bit. And but the only reason that I would be like, oh yeah, that's a good thing, is because of like the potential vaccine. And they're saying that it could be like Christmas, it could be March time. So it's like, actually, considering how long we've been in this, like now, nearly, like it's a year yesterday that the first case in China was announced. So it's like,
yeah, when we're recording this, it's a year yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, when we're recording it, yes.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh well, what is another 3 months? Like, it doesn't really matter. But it's not. But also, I am ready to go back out and like be in the club, because I'm in me mid to late 20s, and these are meant to be the best years of my life, and I'm just sat at home getting fat and drunk on Zoom. Like,
our best years wasted away.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, though. That those are being pushed back too.
Yeah, exactly.
Your early 30s are your new mid 20s.
True.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm hopeful for as well with the queer spaces? Because loads of people are booking tickets to shows that they know might not happen. So like, it feels like the audiences hopefully have realised the importance of buying a ticket before you get the show, not having on-door purchases, although, we encourage it all, but it lets queer performers know that you want them there, that you support that venue, that you support the show. So I'm hopeful that when we do come out of this, there'll be masses of audiences that want to be entertained and want to support good causes. And what better cause than fucking drag?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right.
I do think though that in like 6 months' time, or after the vaccines happen, and 6 months after, it will go back to like the usual stresses of being like, oh, we haven't sold enough tickets, but then you sell out on the door because people just we'll just go back to that way, which is all right. I can't wait for that, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'd rather that than every show getting cancelled all the time. But hopefully, I think you're right. Syro. I think hopefully people have realized what the importance of like going out and being in the spaces and supporting the artists is. Fingers crossed. It's certainly been that way when the restrictions have started to lift. People have been like, oh my God, we need like, you know, there's been such a demand for it. And I don't know if it's the lack of supply or the increase of demand, but I've found that ticket sales have been better than ever when there've been shows. I mean, it's probably a mixture of both. It's a lack of shows out there, an increase of demand, and also a decrease in capacity with the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
So
People are screaming out for something to do, like being locked inside watching Strictly Come Dancing. As lovely as it is,
yeah,
you want to get out. Like, you just want to get out and see a ribbon dance to the Countdown theme tune.
Oh my
and be
God.
reminded of what it was like to be inside.
I've got a good question. What's
Go
your
on.
favorite queer venue, or your favorite, like a really good memory of a night where you were really close to people and it was sweaty and that feel?
Oh God.
Oh,
What sort of venue are you talking about? So
any venue you want.
Have you go first? Have you got any in mind, Syro?
Oh, do you know what? As much as no, I'm not gonna say RBT, I miss like trying to get a drink and like getting to a smoking area.
my God, yeah, I miss complaining about how long it takes to get a drink. Like
Yeah.
being in that sweaty queue, being like, I'm gonna get 2 drinks because I've been here so long. Like I miss that. I miss complaining. That's very British of me, isn't it?
No, I love that. I miss a complaint. I miss like people passing around the fucking cup that you almost sip out of and it's poppers. Like that's shit. I miss.
Yeah, I do. I do. I'm going to be honest, I think, and frank with you.
Go on.
I enjoyed going to a venue and having drinks brought to me, not having to get up. And also, as a performer, certain venues I've performed at when the restrictions were lifted, you get your own spot, and like no other performers are near you, so you don't have to talk to people. Great. And you get drinks brought to you. Fantastic. Don't even have to like go and talk to the audience. You don't even have to talk to the audience because that's against the guidelines. It's great. And then you can be out of there by 10 p.m. home and in your pajamas.
The carrot, the antisocial drag vegetable, everybody. When the restrictions lift, go and see one of their shows, but don't talk to them.
No, do not talk to them. No, I'm joking. Of course, I miss chatting to people. I am a very socially anxious person, but this time for me has really helped me to process that, actually. And I guess it's kind of a good thing for socially anxious people like me that it will probably come out slowly, because it's like weaning it, you know. And maybe I'll find once we get back into it, I'm more confident at being able to talk to people and being in a room and talking to strangers and having that presence and stuff that we talked about before about drag in the last podcast. Yeah, but it's one of those things, and I'm sure I'm not the only person who feels that way. I'm sure there'll be people out there maybe listening to this who are socially anxious, who are like, I actually fucking love it.
Absolutely.
It has its bonuses, it has its perks. So I'm just saying that for those people out there. I understand.
It has been quite nice, to be fair. Like, I miss UK like queer venues because I went away for nearly a year and lived in Lanzarote, and I just got back and then we went into lockdown. So it was like, it's been extra long for me.
Yeah.
But something I am hopeful about, which is slightly controversial when I said it a while ago, which was like regarding theatres and queer spaces and lots of other spaces, is I think that like the dismantling that's kind of happened like throughout this lockdown could be a good thing, because we can then rebuild it in a way that's actually fair, inclusive, and representative of the people that that go to these spaces, work in these spaces. That works for theatres as well, because obviously, like, especially with everything that's been going on throughout all of the lockdowns and throughout the past sort of like nearly year and everything, there has been a lot of discussions, rightly so. And I think it's time for those spaces to implement those changes now. So I'm hopeful that that's going to happen. I mean, I'm not that hopeful for some venues, but like, and some theatres, but some are already doing it. Like, for instance, the two brewers have got new, like events booker. Very inclusive. Used to work at the RVT, so like very hopeful about that. Certain theatres and certain theatre companies have started to like restructure their like authority teams and everything. So hopefully they're still here and surviving throughout all of it. But also what I'm hopeful for is the sort of restructuring.
Yeah, I think by the time this episode is out, I can say it. Cut it off if I can't. I've been working on a trans casting statement for theatre venues and all kind of arts venues, about them supporting trans people in their theatre. So, for instance, no casting a cis person in a trans role, implementing trans people within the structure of the theatre. So, making sure that not only on stage we're being represented, but backstage and everything. And I've been working on that with 3 Black trans creatives, which is amazing. It started off as a much bigger thing and it came down to kind of us. So I think that'll be released soon, and it's encouraging theatres and companies to sign it so that people who are trans that work for them or visit them know that they belong and they're welcomed and they're safe. So
that's great. That's really cool. I think you're right though, both of you. That is something to be hopeful for, that this time where a lot of the big businesses and the people with the money who have been holding on to their places at the top for so long in these theatres and stuff, they haven't stepped up, they haven't adapted, they've just given up and stepped back, a lot of them. Whereas and that's left space for artists and people who wouldn't normally be able to get in these venues. It's allowed them to put their foot in the door, and that's really exciting. That is something to be hopeful for, you know. Even like the stuff going on at the Bush Theatre, I don't know if you've seen it, or the Bridge Theatre. Is it the Bridge or the Bush? The Bridge.
I
don't know.
The Bush. Wait, let me fact check. Give me 1 sec.
While you're fact checking, Cyro, with the trans artist thing, you said less like people are going to sign it. Is there somewhere people can go to like see who signed it? And
well, that's it. I'm not quite sure what's happening with that, but it's in association with Milk Presents, Queer House, and oh my god, I've completely forgotten the other one.
So check out Milk Presents and Queer House.
Yeah, once it's out, I'll post it everywhere. And it's up for companies to sign it. We did speak a lot about in the meetings what the thing that I want. I'm like, we need to know the people who haven't signed it just as much as we need to know the people that have.
Yeah.
Because that, you know, it's horrible, but that power, that pressure is the only reason companies change anything, is that like, oh, it's gonna look bad. Like the amount of talks and panels I've been part of that I would never have been asked to last year, never. It's been ridiculous. I spoke to Sony, like association with Sony Music, about pronouns day, and I was like, this would never have happened, but they clearly, you know, and it's good, but I'm very aware that it's the pressure that's making people change a lot at the moment. So I hope that pressure continues. I'm hopeful that pressure continues into the new year.
I think you're right. The lockdown has allowed people to really think about their politics and how to approach it. So, and when you're stuck inside and you're not busy with your life all the time, you've got time to sit and plan and act, which is exciting. I think you're right. That is something to be hopeful for, and maybe people will carry that forward into their lives. This more activist sort of viewpoint. What I was talking about before, just briefly, was the Bridge Theatre, not the Bush, the Bridge Theatre, which is obviously an off West End venue. They've got in December, They've got House of Burlesque on there for 2 nights.
Yeah.
They've got Lads doing 2 nights, and they've got the Bit and Peach doing 2 nights in this enormous off West End theatre and Bridge Theatre. It's really cool. And then, of course, you've got at the Garrick on the West End, you've got Death Drop, produced by a relatively young new producer in Tuck Shop, and featuring a very queer cast of, you know, as well as like a couple of big names, because you can't do the West End without a big name. Cool. But big-ish.
Shady.
I meant like
this evening.
I meant like not like Bette Midler. Do you know what I mean? It's Courtney Act. It's not like fucking Barbara Streisand.
Not Glenn Close. So
yeah,
those are such. I don't know. I know that you're not that old, but that
really old.
Like, Bette Midler. Bette Midler is your go-to.
Not Barbara
Streisand. That was my like. Yeah, but let's be honest. A show with Bette Midler is going to sell out, isn't it? That's what
well, yes, with you'd buy all the bloody tickets.
Anyway, yeah. So I just feel like it's where theatres have had these young companies and performers and artists have adapted. Mm-hmm. They've managed to get their foot in the door where older, rich white people, men, straight, have given up.
Mm-hmm. Something that I have noticed with regards to theatre though, and well, not just theatre but like acting, is there's like this, it's called Spotlight. It's like a directory of casting, so people, casting directors and that are trying to find actors for parts will post it on there, and agents and actors will apply essentially, and a lot of things that I've seen recently have specified that they want like trans actors, or they want non-binary performers, or they want black performers, and not just necessarily in like a tokenism way, like as in the character is this, we want an authentic actor to play this character, which you kind of saw a little bit, like every now and again, like 1 in 100 sort of castings would pop up and it'd be like, we're looking for an actual actor that is the same as this character. But now you're seeing it a lot more. I don't know, Leah, if you, Cyro, if you have noticed that as well. But I have, and that's very promising. That's very good.
Yeah, I was in talks with a group. My agent posted that I was in talks with Spotlight. I wasn't, but we were in talks with someone who was liaising with Spotlight and putting pressure on them changing their gender options, because it was just male or female on Spotlight, and there was nothing else. So that's changing now. So yay! Keep pushing. But I think it's amazing that there is more castings. I don't tend to look at Spotlight often, but I did get they need to also do their research on non-binary people, trans masc, trans femme. I got a audition for a role, and I just think they just didn't know, but they needed to specify it was a trans femme role, and I was like, I'm not going to even audition, like I'm not going to read this out. I'm glad that it's being made, but it's just interesting, those like finely tuned things where I'm like, there wasn't a trans person in your team, you know, and you're just like, there's not a queer person in your team because you've done, you know, this,
or not a person of color a lot of the time.
So I'm glad that it's changing. I'm just like, but then there's also the backlash of people complaining about Sainsbury's adverts and complaining that there seems too many queer people or trans people on their televisions. And
all I'm going to say to anybody that has an issue with the Sainsbury's advert, why the fuck don't you have an issue with the Audi advert when the family is a bunch of fucking carrots?
Exactly.
You're not seeing yourself represented on TV? Well, that's because they're bloody carrots, you dickheads. Sorry, I'll stop swearing now.
No, it's so ridiculous. I bet they're like, oh, but they're white carrots. I bet that's their logic.
Oh, shut up. No. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Carrots are shit. Yeah, I agree. I think it's the current sort of political climate is which I think this is something to be hopeful for personally, is forcing people to take a stance, because nowadays inaction is just as bad as being the ism or the ist.
Silence is violence.
Yeah, exactly. And
Mhm.
and that's really starting to, I think, take hold, and businesses and people are being held accountable. So and businesses and people and figures are being forced to take a stance on stuff like trans rights, something that they might never normally have like even thought about in their day-to-day lives. People are being forced. So how do you feel about this? And they have to educate themselves and then educate their audiences into what they believe, which sometimes is not always the right or correct belief. I say correct because, you know,
Well, I
there
think
is
I mean, I can't wait to shop at Sainsbury's and be like queer and fabulous and have no bigots around me. So, like, absolutely bring it on. But it's correct what you're saying is having those, especially big corporations that, especially during Pride Month, use the pink pound a lot, to actually have to stand by their actions. And it's not just performative, and it's not just for that month. Like this advert is, like, Sainsbury's have put out a statement and are saying that how, like, they support, obviously, with their advert, and they support Black Lives Matter and things like that. So it's like, it's really empowering to see these big corporations actually stepping up and actually saying what they believe in, rather than just being like, oh, like, just because we like money, we'll just appease everybody. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
stop. Go on, Cyro. What are you hopeful for?
It was just on from the last conversation, really. Also with people, like, I feel like everyone's done a cull. Like, personally, like, I miss being in big groups of people, but I've also streamlined my friendships, streamlined my family, because people are being honest about what their beliefs are, what they stand for, and what they don't. And I'm like, bye. And it's good. It's actually good to know, because it just wasn't spoken of. We just didn't speak about it in the same way we're having to now. And it's just nice to know that you're not surrounded by bigots or transphobes or racists.
Yeah.
You know? Whereas before, like, that, those things can slip, especially, like, you know, when you're on Facebook and you see your high school friends, whatever, post something, you're like, oh, fucking hell, because they're being more vocal. So even though I'm seeing, like, the dark side of it, at least I can see them now. And I think that's the most insidious thing about Britain and its racism or homophobia or transphobia or Islamophobia, is that it's not loud. We're not America. We're not, the guns are blazing. It's in policies, and it's in people, and it's in those small discussions,
Little communities and little community Facebook groups and things like that.
We're so used to, I think, as queer people, as Black people, having people say, especially if you're from a small town, oh, but you're all right.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that used to, and before that, used to, like, didn't used to hit as hard as it does now, that I process it and go, whoa, you're a prick. Oh, I can get rid of you. Things have different meanings and different weight, and I think that's a good thing.
I think lockdown has helped, well, I don't know about everybody, but for me personally, has helped me sort of, I don't know, have a moment with myself and actually figure out some things within me, because I'm like, and deal with some things with, like, that necessarily I was kind of just being like, ignore, and like, and yeah, and so, like, for me personally, that's when I actually sat down and had a conversation with myself about my gender and my identity and what that entails, and then also regarding my friends and everything that was going on, especially as we've discussed previously off air, things that have gone on between, like, mine and Cyrus friendship groups with the Black Lives Matter movement. And it's like, well, if you don't stand for something, then you stand for nothing. I think that's from Hamilton. I don't know. Not Hamilton, but it's true. And it's like, you can't, silence is violence. You can't just say nothing. And it's I don't know. And so having those difficult conversations with yourself, with others, it's actually been really nice to be able to and like you were saying, Carrot, with your like social anxiety of like dealing with that with yourself and having this time to process it and figure out ways that you can deal with it, you can change what you can do and everything, and that comes with lots of things really. So I think I'm very hopeful that, well, I know that will, with myself, will continue, and I hope that will continue with lots of people outside of the four walls that we've been in for the last 10 months.
You're right, yeah. That is something to be hopeful for, definitely. I think we've talked for long enough about what we have.
Now we can all stop being fucking hopeful, go back to watching The Crown and being depressed.
I've watched it all. I did it one day.
Have you? Oh no, I haven't watched it all.
I haven't, no.
See, I'm not what is the word when you're a royalist? I'm not a royalist. I don't think that. I think they're unelected officials, and they're basically grounders. But I do think it is really interesting because it's a different world to like anything that we know. Yeah. And I just really want to know about Diana. I want to know more about Diana, that's all.
Yeah, well, watch the documentary on Channel 5 or 4, whichever one's been doing it.
Princess Diana Diaries, isn't it?
Yeah, the Diana Diaries. It is so good.
Is it?
Really
okay.
Good.
I'm like not a royalist either.
But not Diana's an icon.
But like, I love it because it tells you all their secrets. Like, there's so much I didn't know about the monarchy, and I was like, this is true. This is
although The Crown is like not 100% accurate. It's not.
No, yeah. It's a dramatization of what happened, but the facts of what happened is still facts.
Oh, absolutely.
So every plot point is like, oh no, I know that you might not have had that conversation, but that happened. You shady fucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's true. That's the thing. That's why I have considered watching The Crown, is that apparently it is quite anti-royal in the portrayal of the royals. So I would consider it, but I would say definitely watch that Diana documentary. Honestly,
I will. Also, watch a documentary on YouTube. I'll link it. It's about how the royal family are all lizards. So yeah.
No. Can't deal with you.
I love a conspiracy theory, okay? Because now, don't get me wrong. I don't believe them, but it is almost, if you look at it as like a modern philosophy, because philosophy is all about questioning the existence of life and what it is to be alive and the world that we live in. So it is really interesting to look at these conspiracy theories and not actually be like, oh, the world is flat and like all of this other stuff, but like it is really interesting. So
you're going to get yourself into a hole one day, and
all I'm saying is that Donald Trump loses the elections and then suddenly there's a vaccination out there. What? The conspiracy theories are going wild. I love it.
Whatever you want to waste your energy on, go ahead.
Oh god, it is ridiculous though. It's like, come on, Moderna the main funder is Dolly Parton. Like, look at the actual official documents, but people are like, Bill Gates has put all of his money in there, he wants to chip us, and it's like, really, like, you've got a national insurance number which is specific just to you, and you think you're being controlled with a mask? You are ridiculous. But I will spend 20 minutes just like hearing you out.
It's like, I'll hear you out, but you're a twat. I love that. Absolutely. I love the trash TV things. I'm all about 90 Day Fiance, which is awful. Most of it goes to everything in my being, but I love it. Oh,
do you know what? Yeah, I love Bargain Hunt.
Oh, for goodness sake.
How old are you?
Person.
How old are you? Bargain.
I'm wearing a poncho that I crocheted myself, so I'm at least 87.
Crocheting, knitting.
Yeah,
oh, gosh.
I'm literally 90. I am an old woman, to be fair.
Just need to get a purple rinse, and then you'll be.
Hey, carrots are purple originally.
They are originally, yeah.
Yeah. So.
What do you mean originally?
In the Tudor times, when because I also love the Tudors as well as conspiracy theories. No, but
So much.
in ye olden days, carrots were purple, and then they've been genetically selected. So, like, because orange carrots were more appealing visually, so that's why now we have orange carrots. But you can still get purple carrots. You can get white carrots as well.
Yeah, and you can grow them yourself.
I can't believe we've got to this in this podcast. We've got to talking about
also avocados have been genetic, and watermelons. Watermelons. Most of the food that you're eating, its original form is completely different to what you're eating right now. Avocados, the pip inside avocados is about 80% of the actual thing, but they've been genetically selected and so that they can be small, and then there's more flesh. And watermelons as well. Anyway, just research it and then go in a conspiracy theory YouTube vortex and go and watch dogs.
Don't do that.
Different fruits and vegetables and their origins, and then conspiracy theories, because believe me, it will make your lockdown. No, don't do conspiracy theories.
No, because not everyone's that's like, oh my God, the mums out there, even my mum at the beginning of lockdown was like, oh, Leah, have you heard about this? And I was like, don't start.
Mums are the worst. My mum reads something on Facebook and is like, oh, have you heard? And I'm like, Mum, you are literally the epitome of what everyone's saying. This is why everything needs to be fact checked, because people like you read it and think that it's the God's honest truth.
Yeah, I got an Facebook Messenger the other day from my mum being like, OMG, can't believe I've seen you in this video, and the link, you know, one of those like ones that's obviously spam. And when you click it, it makes you put in your details and then it sends it to all your contacts.
Yes.
Yeah, I got that from her, and then I got it from her partner about 5 minutes later because he'd obviously clicked it after she'd clicked it.
God, that's like if I get a telephone call from a number I don't know, I'm like, I'm not answering that. No, because it's going to be someone selling me PPI. But my mum's like, hello.
Alternatively,
how are you?
Hello? Hello? Hi, yeah, I heard you were in an accident. Oh, hi. Yes, hello? Have you had one of them?
I have, and I always play along with it. And I'm like, yep. And then there was a really sexy passenger behind me, and he was butt naked, and he wasn't wearing his seatbelt, and then he rammed his cock into my arsehole. They're like, oh, and then hang up. I'm like, well, you waste my time, I'll waste your time.
Love it.
So talking of cocks in arseholes, snack time!
Snack time. Snack time. Snack time. Snack time.
So on the podcast, each week we're going to have a section where we get a little bit hungry, we get a little bit thirsty, and we talk about some sexy, sexy snacks that we know and that you should definitely follow and go and thirst trap over them, because they are snacks. So I haven't actually thought of my snack yet, so let me have a look through Instagram. Carrot. While I'm doing that, why don't you do your snack?
Start with me?
Yeah, have you got a snack?
Yes, I do.
Oh, go on then.
Right, this week, because I'm obviously it's lockdown and stuff, so I've been spending a lot of time with this person, and it's actually my boyfriend. Now, I'm not just saying it because he's fit, because he is really fit.
Oh, he is fit. Yeah.
So you can follow him and see the occasional like hairy chest picture. But I'm mainly saying it because he started up doing drawing and sketching during lockdown, because he used to do a lot of illustrations when he was a teenager, and he picked it back up again during lockdown after my encouragement, and got himself a digital tablet and is doing these amazing illustrations that like they have weird and like horror themes and like political themes, all different ones. And I think you should all go and follow that, to be honest. It's called Beyond the Plug Hole. It's what he's drawing, what is beyond the plug hole. Yes. And whilst I'm here, he has actually drawn us an illustration for us to use on our podcast. So if you're looking at the picture that's on our podcast on Spotify or whatever, then you will see a picture what he has drawn of, and he's in films. He's about to be in another horror film, and he's a writer. He's written plays, and he's written ones that have been in the bloody off West End theatres. Yeah, there's nothing he can't do. So follow my boyfriend Reese Connolly.
Proud mum moment. Woo woo.
And I do look like a mum right now. So
Oh.
Who's next, Cyro?
I go next. So my snack of the week is Mel's, who is founder of Free Black University. They are, oh my God, I met them doing the What If Sony Music, What If Freedom panel discussion. It was me and them. And I look like an absolute idiot. They're at Cambridge at the moment doing their doctorate. They are like just the incredible trans advocate and gorgeous human being, so intelligent. And they're like asking these like really in-depth question about language and the colonization of language. And I was like, I do drag. And I've never felt stupider, but I loved every second. I'm gonna read like little bio because I don't do it justice because I'm just not smart enough.
I do drag.
Like, what have I got to offer with the person who founded a Free Black University? And I'm like, I don't even know. I don't even do a death drop. It's not much. So Mel's is the founder of Free Black University. They're an activist that works in a number of spaces such as Black Lives Matter UK, decolonising education, trans visibility. They are multifaceted artist and academic, and their work explores a radical Black imagination and building transformative worlds. So dumb, dyslexic.
Yeah.
Their passion is research, and they will soon be taking up a PhD position, which they are now, at the University of Cambridge, exploring new visions for our collective world. Mel's takes this decolonial analysis forward into all aspects of their life and work.
Ooh.
And their Instagram, follow their personal one, Mel's dot, so MELZDOT.
Oh.
And please follow the Free Black Uni, which is at Free Black Uni. Big snack.
I'm following right now. I'm going on right now to give them a follow because they sound amazing.
And they're just so nice. They were just so nice.
Oh my God.
Ooh.
Damn.
I know. Snack, right?
Yeah. You know what makes them even more of a schneck is intelligence. Intelligence is so sexy. And also when somebody is speaking and you can tell that they're intelligent, but they don't do it in a patronizing way of like, I know I'm intelligent and I know that these words I'm saying you won't understand because I'm better than you. And it's like, oh, bog off. Like, I'll just do drag. But it's when somebody is really intelligent and but like down to earth, it's really sexy. Intelligence is sexy, kids.
Totally.
I was trying to not flirt with them in the whole thing. They can hope
you try not to flirt with somebody, Cyro.
I'm good. I don't think I flirt. I think my eyes.
You don't flirt. I've seen the progression of you from 7 years ago to now, and believe me, although there's a progression of how you flirt, you still bloody flirt with pretty much honestly, if you ever meet Cyro and they think that you're attractive, you will know it. Believe me.
I don't think I'm that obvious. I think I'm really secretive. I'm completely delusional.
You turn into like this. Like it's like this bumbling mess, and you're like, "Are you all right, Cyro?"
Yeah.
Or now you try and act really cool, and you're like, "Oh yeah," and then I'm like, "Your real name?" I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Oh no! When I get drunk or like a little bit tipsy or whatever, there's something else that comes out, and I've had friends, you know, when they've seen you flirt with someone, just be so I'm like, so I think we should go on a date. I'm like, I'd hate to watch videos back of myself flirting. Drunk.
You are quite good sometimes, but the funniest thing is that like one time when we were in Birmingham together and there was a certain person that you got a phone number from. Literally, you didn't even turn around. You basically just turned around and then came running over to me like, "Oh my god, I got her number!" I was like, you couldn't be any more obvious if you tried. They are literally stood next to you.
She's there, and I'm skipping along.
This is what I mean. You're not subtle in the slightest. So.
I'm so excited to be queer and here.
And we love it. We love it.
I'm hopeful that Cyro will get better at flirting.
Oh yeah. And Cyro, I'm hopeful that Cyro's gonna get laid. Oh yeah.
Oh, it's been so long. It's been so long.
Hasn't been that long.
Has it? Oh.
Oh. Oh. Mm.
I forgot. Thank you for. It's not been that long.
It's not been that long.
Oh, all right then.
Talking of that long, my snack.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go for like really like educational, intelligence, loving sort of relationship to pure thirst, and it's Civil War. Now, do both of you follow him?
No.
Civil War.
Civil War. Oh my god. About this 17-foot tall drag queen that's also CrossFit trainer and was on what's the thing on Channel 4 where the SOS thing, not SOS, SAS, like where they all go and train in Scotland.
Who Dares Wins. SAS Who Dares Wins.
He was on that recently as well. He's just the most gorgeous human in the whole entire world, and if you're just want a perv then but also equally like amazing out of drag, obviously amazing in drag, like looks phenomenal, sometimes bearded, sometimes not, and then also just really lovely human, very like welcoming and inclusive. And they have, I can't remember what it's called, so they do like baby wars with Baby Lame at the Glory, so they do that, and then they also do another one at the White Swan, and I can't remember what it's, Sybil's House, that's it, it's called Sybil's House, and it's very inclusive, and it's very like, it's just an amazing night. I'm very hopeful for when we get out of lockdown we can go to Sybil's House, because it's an amazing night. Yeah, just like all about the ethos of like inclusivity and acceptance, and just being who you are and being fucking sexy at the same time. Yeah, follow, because he's very attractive.
How do we spell it? Because I can't spell.
CYBIL.
EIL.
Yeah, BIL. BEIL.
The Civil War.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my.
Yeah, I know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful, Flick, that maybe you get a little datey date. Do you want to do a little shout out on the podcast?
I mean, if anyone wants to date this, then come on into my DMs.
Sybil, I met with Sybil.
Oh no, they're in a loving relationship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but I am open to the possibility of dating. So if anyone wants to run a Zoom date or real life date, then I mean, why the bloody hell not? I like meeting new people. What do you say?
I said hit Flick up. I don't know. I regret it.
Yeah. Hit me up. And
if a flick on your phone.
Have a flick on your phone, and then maybe a flick on me. No,
you're only a flick away.
There you go. That's it.
If anybody wants to go on a date with me and Cyro, a double date, then that would be great. And then if you, well, maybe we can talk about it on the podcast, maybe not. But,
I'll come and be moderator.
Oh my God. Carol will be there with a newspaper just in the background, like
jumpers off.
With their cardigans on, and themselves. Just check in, chaperone.
Chaperone.
Just watching the kids. Can you take me to Sybil's house when it happens?
100%. It's one of the first things we're doing is going to Sybil's house.
Right.
We're
You better give me an invite. I'll be fuming if I see an Insta story and I'm not there.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't be silly. We're gonna be there. We're gonna rock in like we own the place, and everyone's gonna be like, "Who the fuck are you?" Like, I've got a podcast, don't you know?
Yes. I've got my eyes painted green. Fuck you.
We do drag.
Yeah, that should be our catchphrase.
Just we do drag.
We do.
But yeah, hey, big up to all of the producers, you included, Cara, for all of the amazing shows that you're gonna put on when we finally have put on previously, and we can just be amazing and queer and
Yay!
and give me
Yeah, it's like I say, people, their foot in the door has happened for little producers and artists as well, defo, as well as the more established artists getting into really big venues. The little artists are getting into the venues where the well-established ones were before.
everyone's moving on up.
Taking a step up the rung. Yeah. Or those of us that can adapt have. What's this dancing? I don't
Moving on up. Moving on. I'm a white boy with no rhythm, okay? All I can do is flail my arms about and just hope. Thank you so much for listening to We Three Queers. I've been Flick.
I've been Cyro.
And I've been Carrot.
Follow us on Instagram at We Three Queers. I don't know what it's going to be called yet, but we'll have an Instagram account and I'll dub that over. Can also follow us on all podcast mediums.
Yes, rate
us, subscribe, leave a comment, tell all your friends, your mums, your dads, your cousins, your aunties. If anyone wants to date me, drop into my DMs at Flick the Drag Queen.
And drop into my DMs at Cyro Drag Thing.
And if you need any tips on knitting, drop into mine at Carrot Drag. Or if you want to compare notes on Bargain Hunt.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a journey. I'm very hopeful that people actually listen to this.
Yes, I'm hopeful too.
Yeah.
Bye.
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 Okay.
We three queers of London are fabulous and feeling ourselves so far. Talking about all things queer and fitting with a theme. And that's enough of that, I'll stop singing now.